We're back. President Obama is sending 1,200 National Guard troops down to the border with Mexico, but his former rival, I think it's still his rival, John McCain, says it's simply not enough to stop the flow of illegal immigrants into this country. Politically, are Republicans playing for a short-term win at the risk of losing Latino support for decades? Maria Teresa Kumar is executive director of Voto Latino, and she's an MSNBC contributor, as you know, and Pat Buchanan is an MSNBC contributor as well. Maria Teresa, what do you think of the border issue? Do you think the way to stop illegal immigration is a stronger border police? What would stop illegal immigration? Would it be stop illegal hiring, stop people at the border? What would actually deal with the problem in terms of enforcement?
Right. I think it's a combination. First of all, I think if you were to ask any American, everybody agrees that we need to stop the porous borders that we have right now. And we need to do a couple of things. We need to find the employers, number one. We have to have severe penalties for the folks that are behind the smuggling. If we go after just simply the person that's crossing the border and not the person who's part of the ring, then we have a problem on our hands because there's no disincentive for them to stop. And finally, we have to start making sure that people come out of the shadows. I want to know who's living in my country. And the best way to do that is to give them an opportunity to come out, be forth, and say, you know, I'm present here. And that's part of it was with comprehensive immigration reform. But it has to be done not one or the other, but first we have to secure our borders.
Okay. Well, they're the 3 points you made. You got to go after the border, you got to go after illegal hiring, and you got to bring people out who are hiding in the country. Pat, what's your solution? What would stop the big flow of illegal immigration if that's what most Americans clearly want in all the polls?
Well, one of the things that slowed it down already and sent some folks back is the recession. There's only two steps you need, Chris. You need to secure the border with a border fence all the way across all the main crossing points.
And that's financially feasible.
Oh, for heaven's sakes, it's simple for the United States. It's spending $700 billion on Iraq, for heaven's sakes. And the second thing you do is you go after the employers with this. You take one of the big employers or 10 of these guys. First time you fine them heavy. Second time you put them on community service. Third time you put them in jail. And people will stop hiring. Then you need the security card, the ID card, Social Security. Call in the number to the Social Security Administration automatically, just like you do a Visa card. It comes back, and if it doesn't fit, the guy's not hired.
Okay, Maria Teresa, let's just on that point. Is there a way to enforce the laws against illegal hiring of illegal people in the country? Is there a way to enforce that law? Because people keep saying, I can't tell, the paperwork is all BS. Nobody believes that people have phony IDs, phony this, phony driver's licenses. I hear you can hire anybody, and you never really get blamed because nobody can really prove the person's here illegally. Your thoughts?
No, I think that we do have to make sure that we create some sort of mandated ID for all employers and for everyone, so that we can actually say who who's here illegally. I think that's a fair.
Let's take a look at the president. We agree on that. We've a lot of agreement here. I'm surprised, actually. I thought there'd be a kerfuffle here. Here's President Obama at a California fundraiser last night. A lot of people think, by the way, he shouldn't have gone out to a fundraiser in the middle of this hell in the Gulf of Mexico. But here he is speaking about the tense conversation he had with Senate Republicans about border security and immigration reform just the other day. Let's listen.
And so what I told my Republican colleagues is, look, I'll be there with you in terms of securing the border. That's part of my responsibility as commander-in-chief and as president. But you've got to meet me on solving the problem long term. It's not enough to just talk about National Guard down at the border. California, the last thing I said to my Republican colleagues was, you don't even have to meet me halfway. I'll bring most Democrats on these issues. I'm just looking for 8 or 10 of you. You know, I mean, the day has passed when I expected this to be a full partnership.
Well, he's chuckling there, but your side, the conservative side of this country, does not trust the Democratic Party on enforcement, do they?
But listen, Chris, that is an outrage. That is an outrage. He's saying, I want to deal with the Republican Party before I do my duty of enforcing the border, before I do my constitutional duty to defend the country against foreign invasion. There are 500,000 illegal aliens in Arizona alone. He's got a duty to control that border, regardless of how people vote on.
This is it. I just hear now. Maria Teresa, this is the Alphonse and Gaston Act you're watching. You first. And this is what the right says. You first on enforcement, and the left says you first on amnesty.
Right.
And therefore,
well, it's
nothing
not
gets
amnesty,
done,
Chris.
and nobody gets through the door.
Well,
you would
it's
probably
not
say
amnesty,
to
but
Pat
I
now,
think,
well, you say.
I mean, the president immediately left the closed-door session with the Republican leadership and said, you know what, I'm listening to you. I'm going to go send 1,200 troops to the border, and I'm going to ask Congress for $500 million extra to secure that border. He basically said he called their bluff. Now the Republicans have to, first of all, release the purse and ensure that he gets the $500 million, and also work with them and say, okay, now, we need 6,000 more. Okay, let's talk about it. But at least he's starting that conversation. He's engaging them based on the conversation he had. And now the Republicans have to say, look, we do need to comprehensive immigration reform. I mean, the fact that 66% of Americans agree with Arizona, that has more to do with the fact that that Congress
Am I missing something?
aren't doing anything.
Am I missing something here? The country got up and said to Bush, no, to Bush, McCain, Clinton, and Obama. We don't want path to citizenship. We don't want amnesty. That does not absolve Barack Obama from enforcing the laws of the United States, which he took an oath to do, for heaven's sakes.
And that's exactly what he's doing. And that's one of the reasons why he deployed 1,200 folks within less than 48 hours after he had that conversation. He listened to the GOP. He's going for engagement.
All right, your engagement, what are you talking about? Doing a deal before I enforce the law or as I enforce the law? Suppose if the Republicans say, no, we don't want amnesty or path to citizenship, we want you to enforce the law, he's got to enforce the law, not try to do a deal.
No, Pat, I think what he's saying is that this is a slippery slope. We would bankrupt Homeland Security if we were to round up the 12 million undocumented that are here.
For heaven's sake.
Got to go.
Just enforce it against employers.
I think the American people see the conversation of America right now, right in front of us. Thank you, Maria Teresa Kumar and Pat Buchanan.